Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Dr. CC Says. This is the Level Up edition. So, y'all, we got a special guest in the building tonight. We are excited. And before we get started, now, most of you probably know Dr. Sherlonda because she's been on the show before. She was on our Freedom edition back in, what was it, Sherlonda? September?
I believe it was.
Yeah, around September. So a lot of you all probably have seen her on here. Hopefully, you are already following her. If not, after she gets finished giving us some jewels tonight, then she will tell you how you can follow her. But y'all, let me just say we are one so happy and so excited to be here together. But two, we are excited to be here with you all. Y'all, we are celebrating plenty of things, okay? Plenty of things. So, one, we made it to 2023. Praise God. Yes, we are happy to be in the land of the living in
Yes.
2023. Yes. We are also celebrating birthdays. So, y'all know I was not here last night with you all for Dr. CC Says because I was celebrating my birthday, my actual birthday. I celebrate the whole month, but yesterday was my actual birthday. Okay. And so, Dr. Shalonda, you got a birthday coming up on Saturday, right?
No, my birthday was New Year's
Oh,
Day.
it was New Year's Day. Oh my
Yes,
goodness. Yeah,
yes.
so listen, Capricorn. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Capricorn season.
Yes. So it is Capricorn season. I knew it was a reason why. Me and you connected instantly.
Yes.
Yes, Capricorns like each other. Yeah. And so y'all, there's some other stuff coming up. If you are not on my VIP list, make sure you sign up for it. I will drop the link in the chat, and so you all will be able to sign up. But my VIP folks get all the information before everybody else. But some of the stuff that has happened recently, my husband and I both published some articles in the Affluence Financial Magazine for women. Awesome magazine. So I made a couple of posts about it, but y'all, I'll drop that link in the chat as well. Y'all, we just bought a house. Yeah, so we are excited about that. And I'll do a post. I'll let y'all see a few pictures of the new house. God is indeed good. Yes, he is good. And he has been showing up and showing out. Okay. So y'all get ready. 2023 is going to be an amazing year. And not just for me. I feel it for other folks as well. So whatever it is that you need to do to prepare for your 2023, let's go ahead and get started. Right? Let's get on board. Now, tonight we are talking about leveling up in a different way than we talked about last week. Last week we talked about my leveling up and how I feel like God is moving me to do more and how he's moving me to do more in a different level of excellence than maybe what I did in 2022. So I am looking at bigger, better, more, all sorts of stuff. But y'all, there's more than one way to level up. Okay. And so Dr. Shalonda is here with us tonight to tell us how she is leveling up in 2023. So before we get there, for the people that don't know Dr. Shalonda, I'm gonna read a little bit of her bio and then I'm gonna let her fill in from there. Anything she wants you all to know. And as always, you all know how we do. If you are in the building, I see we got some folks on, drop hello in the chat so we know you're here. If you are watching the replay later on, let me say thank you for watching the replay and please drop hashtag replay in the chat. Any questions you have, any comments you want to make, please drop them. We love interaction. Okay. All right. So, Dr. Sherlonda is a motivational speaker, a success coach, a national board certified physician assistant, entrepreneur, world traveler. I love that about her, philanthropist, and dreamer. Y'all, that dream part is real important. So, she is a dreamer who has spent the last 24 years serving all sorts of diverse populations. Okay. And that's as a PA, that's as a coach, as a speaker. Y'all, she has been out here blessing the people. All right. She's known for her ability to deliver engaging motivational messages with wit and style, geared primarily towards people who find themselves feeling stuck. So, y'all remember that word, stuck. when their current goals, their career aspirations, interests, or even their relationships shift and they no longer represent who they are. And so I can read a whole lot more about Dr. Sherlonda. I'm going to let her tell you all a little bit about it. And then we're going to jump in because I want to talk about this relationship between being unstuck and leveling up. Okay. So Dr. Sherlonda, say hey to the people.
Hey, everybody. I am so excited to be here. My first public appearance in the new
Yeah,
year. So thank
in
you
the
so
new year.
much, Dr. Cece, for having me, my fellow Capricorn. So yeah,
Yeah.
that introduction, that sets the stage. I feel like I have been on a journey of unstuckness even before I gave it a name for a very long time. And it really started when started having kids. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about doing this full-time job and having my child in daycare, and can I work from home? Back then, that was before all the work from home, and the boss was like,
Mhm.
no. So trying to figure out, what do I become, a stay-at-home mom? Did that for a little while, figured out that still wasn't the right mix for me. And so 20 something years later, still figuring it out. And
Mm.
I actually think I figured it out for what works in this season. So
Oh, and
I'm so excited to share that because my journey is unique. All of our journeys are unique,
yeah.
but I'm not unique in the sense that I'm the only one this can happen for.
Mm. Yeah.
Everybody has a journey of unstuckness. And so I love helping people discover what that looks like for them in their
Yeah.
lives.
I love it. I love it. And I love that you said what is working in this season.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so y'all, before we started the live, we were on talking because also like we're sisters, right? So like we know each other, we are friends, we talk. And so we were talking about this idea of being flexible and being able to reassess and figure out what works for you in this season.
Mm-hmm.
Because what worked for you last season might not work for you in this current season. Okay. And just a little bit of extra, as Dr. G would say, extra sauce. Some people that were with you in the last season might not be with you in this season. And that's okay too. But I think, Doc, sometimes people get stuck. So talking about
Mm-hmm.
being stuck, I think people get stuck because they're trying to make old things work in new spaces.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like the Bible story. You can't put old wine in new wine vats.
Nope.
Right. So y'all, we got to be able to be flexible. We got to be able to assess where we are, who we are in this season, and make sure that we are walking in that.
Yes, that's a whole word right there. And when you're shifting, sometimes it can be so uncomfortable because you've gotten used to where you are and it worked. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
anything's bad, that it
Yeah.
worked. But when God's wanting you to level up, like what we're talking about, that requires some type of action, some type of change. And it's like, but this was working. I understand how this works. I was comfortable.
Listen, comfortable. Mm. Yeah, we could do a whole series on being comfortable and what
Mhm.
comfortable gets you. And what people don't understand, like, okay, yeah, you're comfortable, but a lot of times that leads you to being complacent. And we don't want that, y'all. We're trying to continue to move and grow. You don't want to be stagnant. You want to continue to level up, so to speak. And so, with that is going to come some discomfort because you're going into new spaces, you're going into new experiences. You're going to have to learn some things, some new things. And so, that, sometimes that makes us a little uncomfortable. So,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I see Kendra is on. Hey, sis. Yeah. So let's jump into our questions. So, Doc, what does leveling up look like for you?
For me, it's probably a little ironic because when you say level up,
Hmm.
most of the time you're thinking about, more, what's next, expanding territory. But my level up came in the form of a scaling down. So
Mm,
I admit, I was on the new year bandwagon. Okay, new year. I got my journal, my planner. What are my goals? Because that's what I usually do. What are my goals?
mhm,
I'm gonna have some output that I can measure. What am I gonna work on? Number of speaking engagements, all of these different things. And my spirit, my soul, this is what I heard. And I wrote it down. Chill, no new goals or plans needed.
mm,
Enjoy the destination of now. Flow in what the years of prayer,
Mm-hmm.
grace, planning, and work have yielded.
Mm.
Your doing is simply you being.
Mm.
Boom, just like that.
Mm. That's a whole word. That's a whole word. That last sentence, I'm gonna have to drop that in the chat. Your
You're
doing
doing
is simply you
simply
being.
you being.
Mm.
And that
Mm.
means just being me. It doesn't, and for me, it's, and I won't say that I'm completely, I'm embracing it. I've been working on this for about 2 years. So each year I have a new year mantra. And so in 2021, the mantra was, what's next? This, enjoy the view, which is
Mm.
pretty much the same thing, but just in a different
In a
way.
different way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2022, it was, and I want to read it. And I want to mess it up. I
Okay.
have it right here. My mantra was continue the journey with the intentional creation and maintenance of space and reserve to live in the present, to
Mm.
feel and to hold room for the unknown. So again,
Mm.
to just be.
So that was preparing you, right? To be able
Mhm.
to sit down, to be able to be.
To just
And,
be.
mm-hmm.
And that's not easy because in our society, we are trained to focus on, the external measures of success is usually getting more, more and more, doing more. And we're trained that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so really embracing that, that's my level up. That's my level up
Mm.
for this year. And it doesn't mean, for me, I had to tell myself, it doesn't mean that I'm just sitting back being complacent. It means that I am just allowing myself to be. My mission statement is to inspire, use my natural God given gifts to inspire and
Mm.
motivate other people to live their best lives.
Yeah.
And God has equipped me with everything that I need to do that without all the extra striving, just in my being, just in my breathing.
And I love that. I love that because, like you said, sometimes we are moving and we're doing not because we've been told, right? But because that's what we think people expect.
Mm-hmm.
That's what society has said that we need to do. And like we said in our conversation off, right, off camera, if God is the person that has told you to do it, he's going to give you what it takes to sustain it. But if
Yes.
you out here on your own, a lot of times you will lose your steam, right? You'll lose that energy, you'll lose that motivation, you'll lose that commitment. And so there are different seasons of our life. And I love that you're in this season of being. And I'm sure you can tell the people all the things that have happened, even while you are simply being. Right? Because that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that stuff's not happening.
Right. And that's the
Mhm.
thing, just being and surrendering. And that's a daily process, the practice of surrendering. God is still lining things up, things are
Yeah.
still happening. Um, I'll share this. So I noticed that there's a natural rhythm to my life, to my motivation that follows more of the solar cycle. So
Mhm.
January, February, I started hitting it hard last year. And then around August, end of August, mid September, things just kind of came to a screeching halt. I was like, I'm kind of tired. And I said,
Mm.
well, I have been doing a lot. But it was more than just like a mental tiredness, or like a tired that you just don't go to sleep for. And now looking back, what I saw was that was, my mind, my spirit, my whole being just saying, slow down. It's time to slow down. And
Mhm.
with that, I had the space to live the creativity that God was wanting to show me, because I had a whole 25-year wedding anniversary coming up.
An entire
And
one. And you celebrate it.
yeah,
Yeah.
we are in the we just started our celebrating. And the thing about it is, if I had just, kept going, I could have kept myself busy with a lot of other things, but just winding down and slowing down, that gave me the creativity and the space to hear from God. Because at the end of the day, what is more important? So you have your relationship with God. And
Mhm.
then if you're married, you have your relationship with your spouse. So it's like, this is where I need to be directing my energy. And I was having so much fun. All the other stuff that I was having fun with before, it was beginning to be like work. And my
Mm.
fun, I was like wanting to, be creative and think about, like all the celebrating. That's what
Yeah.
was becoming fun and what I wanted to do. And I kept resisting it, like, no, I need to stay here. And then I finally was like, wait a minute, no. And then just leaned all the way into that, and I'm having a ball.
See? And that's what it's about, right? And I love, like you said, right? Like you kind of cycle through these things and you know when your times are. So like for me, a lot of people say, oh, like winter is like hibernation time. Winter for some reason gives me life. I don't know if that's because we Capricorns and born in the cold and we love it. But this time of year, it gives me like the energy that I need to plan and do for other months. And then there are other times when I'm like, yeah, this is a downtime for me. And it doesn't have to mean that I'm feeling down.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a time where it's time for me to stop, reflect, be quiet, sit still. Right. And I probably used to push against this because I didn't realize that it
Yep.
was there and it was happening for my good.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I know myself well enough and I understand what God is trying to do, I can flow with it, like you were saying earlier,
Yes, flow in it.
instead of trying to push against it. And
Yeah.
life feels better when we're able to do that.
It does. It really does
Mm.
feel, it really feels like you were flowing with it and not going. It's just like if you ever been outside, walking or running and, you're going against the wind, it's like hitting you in your face as you turn around and go to the
Mhm.
way, and they can help give you some momentum. So
Right.
now for this year, I already know August,
Mhm.
September, you know, I'm already doing the soft life January through September, but October, November, December is the softer life. So just go ahead and
Salt her
plan your
life. I love it. I love it. Yeah, yeah. And so what I found this past year in 2022, and y'all, I love how God prepares you for whatever stage he's taking you into, right? So I did the conference in October, the women's conference. Dr. Sherlonda was there. She was in the
Mhm.
building with us. And it was amazing. And we had an awesome time. And what I figured out is October, November, December is probably going to be more of planning for me. And so I said, okay, God, I hear you. I need to get ready for whatever this big burst is that you're about to do in my life. So I got you. So I took time in November, December, and still did a few things here and there, still did some speaking, and, of course, still working and helping the babies. But I took more time to sit and listen and to relax, knowing that I was going into this season. And so, what I decided to do, we're going to do the conference in the summer of 2023 instead of in October.
To go with your
And
natural rhythm and
to go with
flow.
my natural rhythm. Yeah. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And I think that when we have that space, because now like I feel like my energy is there and I'm ready,
Mhm. Yeah.
ready to live in the just in the being. And there was this breath prayer that I used to do probably about a couple of years ago, and it was lighten my load, refine my
Mhm.
path. And
Mm.
I think about that, like I said, the years of prayer, the years of planning, and all the years of work, and being able to live in this season now. Like my load has been lightened, and I feel like my path has been refined. That I'm right
Yeah.
where God wants me to be. And and like I said, every day is a day of surrendering and being open to that and leaning into that. But I'm loving the life of unstuckness, being able
Yeah.
to work when I want to work,
Listen.
how I want to work. Dr. G actually helped. Dr. G is our coach, for those of you who don't know what Dr. G is. And it was funny because I was talking to her one day and I was like, well, on this particular day of the week, I only see like, 3 patients in the afternoon. And she said, okay, because the question was, she asked me, when was the last time you've had 2 consecutive days off? And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
ooh, hmm.
Hmm.
And I started thinking, and
Hmm.
I said, well, on this particular day, it kind of didn't count because I only see like a handful of patients at the end of the day. And she was like, no,
That
that
count?
that
No,
counts
ma'am.
because
No,
you
ma'am.
still are planning your whole day. You still know
Yeah.
that you have that coming up. And so I said, she's right. And so I shifted. And let me tell you, having a 4-day block where I'm not seeing patients. I'm still doing, sometimes I'm not doing anything. And sometimes I'm doing some of the fun work that I like to do
Right.
outside of healthcare, outside of patient care. But she was so right. That made a huge difference. So for me, living a life of unstuckness involves on the career side, being able
Mhm.
to work the hours that flow with my energy level. There's plenty of
Mhm.
work out there. I could easily work 40, 60 hours a week, but I want to.
Look,
I
I
want
love that.
to.
I want to.
I want to.
I want to. There's this guy on TikTok that I follow, Terry K. And so he does like all these motivational posts, and then some of them are just funny, and and he said, what I'm going to do and what I want to do, the same thing. It's the same thing, right? Because I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Want to do?
And look, and I love that. And Ebony, hey Ebony, and Kevin is on as well. Hey babe, Ebony said hashtag goals. Yes, and what I love about Dr. G, and like Doc said, Dr. G is our speaking coach, but she's so much more,
Oh
so much
yeah.
more, so much more than a speaking coach. But what I love about her and people like her that are in my life, they help me remember that I have options.
Mm-hmm.
And they help me remember that the impossible, or what we at some point might have thought was impossible, is really possible. Right.
Yes.
And so, like you, I'm not quite at the place where I work when I want to work. We're going to get there. I'm not
Oh
quite
yeah.
there. So Ebony, I'm with you. It's hashtag goals. Okay. Doc is definitely hashtag goals. And hopefully she tells you all about where she works, because that's all the goals. Okay. So she'll tell y'all about that in a minute. But what I have been able to do, and like you said, flowing with my energy, I set my schedule up in such a way that, like, I am doing the work that I need to do at the times that I need to do it, at the times where it feels right for me. So my patients naturally come in at the end of the day because they're teens, or preteens, young adults. They've been in school, so they need to come in later hours. But what that gives me an opportunity to do is do supervision in the beginning of the day, and then I make sure I take a break before I jump
Yes.
into my patients, right? Like
Yes.
we need to be able to have those breaks. And I actually have a reminder in my phone, 3 p.m. every day. It goes off and it says breathe,
Very good.
breathe. And
Ground
some people,
yourself.
yeah, you have to ground yourself, and you have to prepare for whatever it is that you're going into. And if we don't take time to like plan and be intentional, y'all, we can just run through life and miss a lot of the joy, miss a lot of the actual living piece
Yeah,
while we're
especially for the
doing
type of
yeah,
work that you're doing, the type of work that
yeah.
we both do. It can be really taxing listening to some of the tough things that people go through. So
Mhm.
people probably ask you a lot too, how do you do it? I couldn't do that. Well, first of all, it's a gift set. The skills that are
Yeah.
required to work with people in some of their deepest, darkest spaces. I work in psychiatry, so I work more on the medical side, and diagnosing and treating mostly with medications. But even for people who are equipped and gifted to do it, it can get heavy if you are not intentional about creating space for yourself and having
Yeah.
outlets. So yeah, having knowing your natural rhythms and working
Mhm.
around that is great. I think a lot of parents figured that out during the quarantine when
Yes.
the kids were home, and they were like, the teachers are always saying, little Johnny doesn't do well in school, but I figured out if I let him sleep till 9 and he gets up and he's
Mhm.
energetic and now he's doing his
Mhm.
work and everything is fine, because otherwise everybody is forced to be on a particular schedule
Yeah.
regardless of if that works for you or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And we try our best to accommodate that, but I think we need to do a better job, and we being the adults need to do a better job of validating these kids and saying, "Hey, but hey, sweetheart, this schedule probably doesn't work for you." For
Hmm.
real, like but the teacher has to do what works for the 20 people that's in the
Right.
class, and not just the one. But I recognize that this isn't the best schedule for you, so let's see what we can do to alleviate some of this pressure. And so that's what we have to talk about a lot in therapy. Yeah, see, we got some other folks on. Hey, Glennie. Yeah, hey, Willie. Yeah, thank y'all for joining. But yeah, so we're talking about, for people that just popped in, we're talking about leveling up and what leveling up could look like. And I was so excited when Doc said she would be on the show again. One, because we have a good time together, but two, because your idea of leveling up, your space right now, the way that you are leveling up looks totally different from a lot of folks, but it's still working, right? Because it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that we have to understand. Whatever we're doing, we got to figure out what works for us and make sure that we honor that as much as we can.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And another thing that was, big in this space too is having goals that are more about the enjoyment of life as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to acquiring of things. Because
Mm.
again, when we look at what society has always told us what's important, the acquiring of degrees. Now, I'm not against education. I got plenty of degrees.
Right.
The acquiring of houses and land and cars and the
Hmm.
vacations, the kids. But at the end of the day, you can have all of those things and not enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. And what we found, right, like what we see, especially with high achieving people, we're checking boxes a lot of the times. We're not even stopping to celebrate all these degrees or the house or the marriage or the kids, right? We're going like, oh, okay, got that check. Let's move on
Next.
to the next thing. Check.
Mhm.
Let's move on to the next thing. Oh, and that's not what we want. Like that might be existing, but y'all, we trying to help folks live and thrive. Like we want folks to enjoy it. Folks say you only have one life. That's true. Let's act like it. And that doesn't mean go out
Yes.
here and be reckless. That means let's actually honor the things that are important. Let's have those experiences. All right. So, yesterday was my birthday. And so everybody was like, well, what you doing? What you doing? And a lot of times I will plan things because again, I celebrate the whole month. I was brought up that way. My mom and my dad loved birthdays. So I had a birthday party every year growing up, every year until I went off to college. And so they're like, what you doing? You plan on the dinner? You doing this? We going somewhere? And I said, y'all, I am going to do some things that's for me, right, on my birthday. So me and my husband went out, had a great time eating, but I had so much fun planning makeup at the mall, at the Mac counter. All right. Or going to get my hair done and talking to my hairstylist, or going to get a massage. And my masseuse actually works with Dr. G now. So we spent the whole hour and a half during the massage talking about the products that she's rolling out. Right. But like those were the things that made me feel great yesterday, looking at everybody's comments, talking to my friends and my family on the phone. We're sitting at dinner and I was real I got emotional yesterday a few different times just because y'all we not promised to be here. And
That's
so
right.
we not promised to be here, and we live, this is something that I've always kind of struggled with. We live as though we'll never die, when dying is the only thing that's guaranteed.
Yes,
The only.
and that is the destination of now, living
Mhm.
in this moment, enjoying now, because the past and the future are constructs. The
Right.
past, even if it's good, when we say the past, a lot of times we're like, forget the past, we're talking about bad, but there are good things that happen in the past. But again,
Yeah.
that was still the past. The future,
We don't know that
we
either.
don't know. We don't
Yeah.
know. And what I don't want to do is live my life in such a way that I'm always looking so forward to the next that at some
That you
point,
miss.
whenever that next get
Yep.
here, that it may not even be what I look
Yeah.
like. And then I'm saying,
Yeah.
oh, I wish I had have just enjoyed. I wish I had have been
Right.
grateful. But no, the now, enjoying the
Yeah.
destination is here now. What's in front of
Yeah.
us is the present. So I like what you said, just resonated with me so much.
Yeah. Yeah. So I woke up in a grateful place because I was like, everybody don't make it to 41.
That's
And so,
right.
Lord, I thank you for just being in this space. I don't know how many more years I have, but thank you for this one. Thank
Yes.
you that I saw it, right? That I was able to wake up and enjoy it. And so, throughout the day, there were different tearful moments. But last night, we're at dinner, having a good time. Food was amazing. If you are in the DMV area, Poppy Cuisine in Baltimore, y'all go. It is extra good. Okay. So we're enjoying the food, and then it's time for the waitress to bring the bill. And she says, oh, your drinks and your appetizers have been covered. Somebody called in and paid for your drinks and your appetizer.
Wow.
What? I was like, what do you mean? So we're trying to ask her to figure out who did that. How did this happen? It was my brother. And
Sweet.
that just, like just warmed my heart. And like we had talked that day, like I know he knows how I feel about birthdays. I know how he feels about his birthday. We celebrate each other's birthday. But it warmed my heart that somebody stopped and took the time to just bless me in that way. and
Yes.
make it a surprise, because people that know me for real know I like surprises. So, you know, it was just a very nice time, and I didn't have to do a whole lot, and I didn't have to go and get a bag, or, go get a new pair of shoes or whatever. It was the experience. The experiences of the day that matter. And we got to really start being intentional about making memories,
Yes.
because we don't know where we're going.
We don't.
Right. And so you want to make sure that, like you said, living in the moment, making sure that we are honoring the right now. That
Yes.
part's just important. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
beautiful. That is beautiful.
I see we got some comments over here. Hey Ruby. All right. Oh, hey, Renee. Hey, Sarah. Yeah, it is important to make memories. Absolutely. So,
Hmm.
y'all, we are talking about leveling up. And so, Doc is telling us that she kind of pared down, and that is her level up, right? So, she is in the being. She is being exactly where she is in the place that God has put her. And that is her doing, is just simply being right
Just
now.
being.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Doc, tell us how you feel like leveling up aligns with this idea of being unstuck. And we talked about it a little bit, but give it to them like real clear.
Well, I feel like that leveling up is the process to getting unstuck.
Okay.
So it's like leveling up is the action, and then unstuck being the destination. And
Mm-hmm.
again, like I said, it's going to look different for everybody because we're all on unique journeys. The essence
Yeah.
of being unstuck is when you are living your self-proclaimed definition of success, not the world standard of success, not the metrics that are put out by society, because
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes those are measured in the acquirement of things. But
Yeah.
things that can't be purchased, things that can't be measured, like joy and peace
Mm-hmm.
and love
Mm.
and clarity, focus. So
Yeah.
looking at what success means in your own individual heart, and then unlearning what you've been exposed to, is typically the key or the way to get on that path of getting unstuck.
Mm-hmm.
Being unstuck is when you truly realize and appreciate that who you are, your flaws and all, and
Mm-hmm.
love it. Like I'm in the space where I finally see it. I finally see myself the way that God sees me,
Mm.
and that is huge.
Mm. Ain't that a blessing?
Because you mentioned earlier
Mm.
overachievers.
Yeah.
My favorite type of books to read are like self-improvement. I like watching, videos and reading books on, self-improvement, doing a lot of introspection. So I could easily keep going into the self-improvement being a never-ending project. But
Mm-hmm.
and I always want to strive better to be the best version of myself, but I love this version that I'm at right now. I
Yes.
am not perfect, but in my imperfections, I am still making infinite impact, and realizing that, saying it and believing it, and knowing that I am who God said that I am. I
Yeah.
encourage everybody to have a statement, an affirmation that is so ingrained in your brain that you can just rattle it off, spit it off, so that when people, situations, or thoughts, even your own internal thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
come to try to tell you something otherwise, you can spit it back out. Mine is, I am his masterpiece. I was created
Mm.
anew in Jesus
Mm.
Christ to do the things that he planned for me a long time ago.
Yeah.
So doubts, fears, negativity, I'm combating it with that. And so
Mhm.
that's, to me, the key to getting unstuck, is having something that you can fight back with, and then having a mission statement. Because in corporate America, most corporations have a mission statement, right?
Mhm.
So I think as individuals, why shouldn't we have one? Why shouldn't we
Right.
have like a compass to guide us? I mentioned earlier that my mission statement, and that's been my undercurrent for many, many years, is to use the gifts and talents that God has given me to help inspire and motivate other people to live their best lives. It's simple. That's it. That's
Simple.
it.
Simple. Simple. Oh,
Simple.
but it's so good, right? It was so many good gems in there, y'all. So listen, I see I got some folks over here saying I gotta catch the replay, but that was a word. Yeah, see yourself the way God sees you. Yes. And the thing in there that just really spoke to me is how you are combating this negativity, this fear, this worry, right? And so Coco, this my sister, she said continuously diluting the negative. Y'all, that's what we have to do on a regular basis. Right? The Bible tells us we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, right?
Yep.
There are always things that might be coming against us. But if you have your word, right? If you are praying, if you have a good support system, if you are doing your affirmations, right? If you are doing this mindset work, you are able to combat that stuff. And you're able to do it a lot of times with ease. Now, it won't
Yes.
always be easy, right? But you're able to do it with ease. So, like Coco is saying, you're able to dilute the negative, right? Because
Yes.
that's really what we want to do. You want to overpower it, overload it with so much positivity and so much God that you like, what negativity? Where?
Yeah.
What fear? What worry? Who? Not me. Because I know I'm fearfully and wonderfully made.
Mm-hmm.
I
And the
know
key
this
is
is
catching
okay.
yourself when you, because a lot of
Yeah.
times we get
And it
into that
happens.
negative space and don't even know it. Because negativity doesn't always sound like you're stupid, you're ugly. It's not
Hmm.
that blatant. Sometimes it's
Hmm.
just the, you know what, I'm not going to say anything this time. When you
Mm.
know that you are supposed to speak up, you've
That
been
you
called
need
to
to
say
say
something
something.
about it, or
Hmm.
you know what, I tried it before, it didn't work, so let me just move on. So it's the voices like that, and
Hmm.
sometimes you
Hmm.
get so used to hearing them that they're like your little friend. You're like,
Right.
oh, that's negative. I didn't know that.
Listen, that's part, probably the majority of the work I do at the beginning of therapy, right? With kids and sometimes with adults as well. They come in and they don't even realize that what's happening is unhealthy or
Mm-hmm.
that it's uncommon. So I have plenty of kids that come in and say, "Oh, I mean, I was a little suicidal, but like, isn't everybody?" No. Like, no, that's not the level of functioning that we're aspiring to. That's not, yeah,
Right.
okay, well, this is what normally happens. Well, don't all kids my age hate to go to school, and don't all kids my age like try to take off a few days a week? No. Mm-mm. But like you said, they've sat in it for so long, right? Like we hear it, and sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes the attacks of the enemy are subtle. A lot of times they're subtle, and so we
Yep.
have to be aware. I see Randy is on.
Hey,
Hey,
babe.
and he said something earlier I wanted to come back to. He said leveling up with higher consciousness and impact. And that's what it is. Because when you're able to sit and be intentional and to reflect, and like you said, your doing is being, when you're able to just be, then a lot of times you're going to have a higher level of consciousness. You're going to be more aware, and then you
Mm-hmm.
will have a bigger impact. So,
Yes.
y'all, just so you know, in case you didn't get it, you do not have to be doing a whole lot to be considered leveling up. A lot of times, mindset, just doing mindset work is one of the biggest pieces to get you to a new level.
Yes. And I also wanted to add too, in addition to having whatever a strong response or affirmation and a mission statement, you triggered this. Sit still,
Mm,
mentally sit still long enough to
mhm,
not only receive inspiration, but also transformation. And what
mm.
I mean by that is, because I love a good conference too. So I love going to women's conferences. In fact, I saw an email come through today on Priscilla Shire, and I was like, wait, she's going to be in Fort Lauderdale. I was like, wait,
Yes.
that's going to be around the elite retreat. Maybe I can stay a few extra days. So I love conferences. But the thing about, hang on one second, my cat is trying to get in here. She's making so
Uh-oh.
much noise. Come on.
Yeah, we gonna have another special guest.
She wants to be a part of the show.
Oh, come on.
But with sometimes you can read a book or go to a conference or hear a word and just get so inspired by it,
Mm-hmm.
and then the dust settles and you're
Yeah.
still kind of there
Yeah.
where you were before
Mm.
you went to it. So learn how to sit still long enough, have patience, write things down, write down revelations,
Mm.
try to practice, like Dr. CC was saying earlier. When you're learning how to combat negativity, it takes practice, so it takes time, but sit still long enough so you can actually receive that transformation.
Mm.
And that's the level up,
Mm.
and not just the
Listen,
revving up. and then going
Mm,
back down, but the actual level up.
mm. So, Doc, you stepping on toes. I just want you to know you stepping on toes. So, look, if she stepped on your toes, just say out, okay? Because what you just said was, don't just talk about it, be about it. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I heard, right? So don't just and my pastor preached about this past Sunday, and it got a little quiet, and he made the joke. He said, "Oh, y'all ain't saying ain't being quite as loud anymore, you know." But like he said, let's not just come and get a word in the moment. Let's not come and get our shout and think that that's going to carry us for the rest of the week. But then we go out here and Monday through Saturday, we don't have any hope. We not being productive, right? Like we left whatever we got, we left it right there in that Sunday service,
Yeah.
right? And so with that transformation, sometimes we also gotta be okay with some correction.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
We got to be all right when we sitting still, because sometimes it's like, oh, I'm sitting and I'm doing mindfulness and I'm doing yoga and things are amazing, and then God started talking to you and he's like, you know, you was wrong yesterday when you ain't speak to so and so,
You're
and
like,
you're like,
no.
you're like, wait a minute, I wasn't talking about that though, Jesus. What happened? Why are you talking about that? What's going on? But that's that's what helps with the transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all, we gotta listen. We actually have to hear him, right?
Yes.
We have to be able to take in those words, whether it's correction or whether it's
Mm-hmm.
affirmation or validation. And then we still got to be able to do whatever it is we're supposed to do with it in
Yes.
order to transform.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, Doc. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think, and the last thing I would say, because I made some notes here when you said what would I recommend to help other people level up, and so I think we pretty much covered everything,
Mhm.
um, except one thing I wanted to mention: acknowledge what you need, and don't be afraid to ask for it, because I've seen
Mhm.
it, and I'm guilty of it too.
Mhm.
Kind of like one of these things where, I know that I have people I can go to when I need help, but I'm gonna save it for like when I really need it. Save it up for, I don't want to be like, I read a little story when I was little about the little boy, the little boy crying wolf, and he would always be like, help me, help me. And then when he finally needed help, nobody was there
There
to
was
help
no
him. So I'm like,
help.
I don't want to
Right.
be like that. But I was talking to someone, a couple of months ago, who had like two back-to-back extreme deaths in their family, losses,
Mhm.
and was really having a hard time. And that's and she said she needed to go out and do some shopping. And I was like, well, the people that are in your support system, I'm sure that this would be the time. Like, if you ever needed help, like, this is the time. Like, it doesn't get any worse than
Mhm.
this. Reach out and let people know. Because I had a situation before where, somebody who was really close to me, that was going through something. And when I reached out, they said, it's a little too late. I was expecting you to reach
Mhm.
out earlier. And that
Mhm.
hurt my feelings, because I would have wanted to be there for that person. And so I started saying, like, well, maybe I should do this. Or maybe then I said, wait a minute, I am not a mind reader.
Mhm.
So let us ask when we need help. Let us
Mhm.
say, like, I'm not okay. We can send a text. We can send a song. You can find lyrics to a
Mhm.
song, send it, and, let people know when you need help. And we have to realize and acknowledge when we need help. There's a thing called a feelings wheel. It's a resource. You can Google it,
Mhm.
feelings wheel. And it has like so many different emotions and feelings that we could be feeling that go beyond the
Mhm.
primary ones, like anger, sadness, joy, happiness, but overwhelmed or anxious or terrified
Yeah.
or overjoyed. So it has like all of these different adjectives to describe how you might be feeling at a particular time, and so that you can know how you're feeling, so that you can say, I need help. So
Yeah.
that's something that I'm working on, like going into a store. If I go into a store and I don't know the layout of that store, and I have somebody from the that works at the store come up and say, "Oh, ma'am, can I help you find what are you looking for?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine." No, I'm not. I don't know. Can
Mhm.
you help
I
me
don't know.
figure out where I can find the scented candles?
Listen.
Why am I going to go in there and say, "Oh no, I got it"? I don't. I ain't got it.
And I don't work there either. Like, why would I have it?
And
Right?
so for me, like, accepting that help, if the
Yeah.
help is right here in
Yeah.
front of me, instead of me, oh no, I don't want to bother. It's not a bother. That's their job to say, can I help you? And so just
Yeah.
little things like that, I would encourage you to help yourself level up and get more confidence in asking for help, because sometimes I feel like in society we're taught, we do a lot of individual work, and so we're taught to kind of achieve things on our own, instead of working as a team. But sometimes we have to get out of that space. So I just wanted to make sure that I put that out there. Forget the unnecessary humility. Ask for the help. Ask for, if you're hungry and you're not feeling good and somebody call you and say, hey, you need anything? Don't say, no, I'm fine. No, can you stop by and get me some soup from Chick-fil-A and bring it to me? It's okay. Ask for help.
And I love that. Open your mouth, right?
Open your mouth. Yeah.
Open your mouth and ask for what you need. And that is definitely a level up strategy, because that also speaks to that mindset piece that we were talking about. Because why aren't you asking? And a lot of times it has to do with pride. A lot of times it has to do with, oh, I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to bother nobody. I just want to stay to myself. I just want, God ain't tell us that. He didn't say that.
Nope. He did not.
Now, what can you know? Yeah. And Ruby said, we all do that, or we do that all the time. Unfortunately, we do. But y'all, so, and I was telling Doc this when we were off camera. One of the things that I have really kind of latched onto, and it has helped me be okay with asking for help and delegating and quietly quitting and whatever else you want to call it, right? Is the realization that God gave me something to do. We can call that purpose, we can call it an assignment, we can call it a task, whatever you want to call it. He gave me something very specific to do. And y'all, that's my job. My brother told me when I got ready to go to college, he said, your job is school. That's what you do. You going to school. They gave you a full ride to go to school. That's your job. You do that like you getting up and going to work every day. Right. And so, y'all, now my job is whatever God told me to do.
Yes.
All right. Whatever the assignment is. And I promise y'all, if you sit and you listen to him, if you are quiet and you really listen more than you talk, he will make your assignment plain.
Yes, he will.
And he gives us multiple assignments. Okay. I used to think that we had this one purpose, and I was trying to take this journey to figure out what that one purpose is. And at some point I figured out, wait a minute, we have multiple purposes, right? And we have a different purpose in a different season. And so, y'all, he gives us things to do. And if you are taking your time being stuck, if you spending your energy trying to be humble when you don't need to be, if you spending your time trying to not ask for help, if you not delegating and trying to act like you superwoman or superman, guess what we're not doing? We're not doing our assignment. And our assignment is important. So we got to stop putting our energy and our effort toward all these other things, these distractions, our pride, right? Whatever it is, these old school beefs. You've been mad at somebody for 25 years. You won't even remember why no more. But your face just frown up every time you think. No, like we don't have time for that. We have stuff to do.
Yes.
Right? We're doing a great work and we can't come down. We can't be distracted. And so for me, I have to delegate now, because God gave me an assignment. And
That's
so if
right.
I'm doing that, I can't do everybody else stuff too. I gotta concentrate on my stuff. So that's my realization.
Yes.
Through this.
And that's so true when you were saying the part about, people being mad for 25 years. One of the things that Randy and I, we were just saying, like, energy isn't destroyed, it's transferred. So if you're taking it takes energy to actually be mad at somebody.
Yes.
But oh yeah, I forgot I don't like that person. Oh yeah. It takes energy to frown on your face. It takes energy to be like, I'm gonna turn my back. So if you are using that energy, remember, energy can't be destroyed. So that means you are taking away from something else that you should be doing.
Taking
up space unnecessarily. And when you were saying about purpose and God giving us assignments, he also equips us to be able to carry out those assignments. He gives us everything that we need is already in us. Everything. Sometimes it takes like some mining and some digging to get it out, but he has already placed everything inside of us to carry out the purposes, plural,
Mhm.
that he
Yes.
has for us. And that's, to me, that just takes so much of the pressure off. It's like God's not going to ask me to do something and then say, okay, go figure out how to do it and come, go come up with the
Mm-mm.
tools. He's not going
Mm-mm.
to do that, because when he gives you something, giving is a gift, right?
Yeah.
He's giving it to you, he's laying it out, and we do not have to beg. We do not have to,
Mm-mm.
steal, borrow from somebody else to carry out what God has put
Ooh.
in our hands to do.
Ooh. Doc, that's a whole word. Okay. Yeah. So, Reverend Randy, you need to preach on that. Hmm. Yeah, look, and he just commented too. Yes, but I put up Marcella's comment real quick, and the assignment won't exhaust us. It's designed just for us. Just what you were saying, Doc. If it's exhausting, we are doing too much.
Mm.
If we tired, that's not our ministry, right? And there's I think it's a t-shirt, but it's also just like a saying that's going around on social media, but it says you are handling too many other people's business. That's why you tired, sis. Right? Like you doing too much for that's why you tired. It's not your business. It's not your stuff. Take your hands off of other folks' stuff.
And you
Yeah.
know what? For people like us who are, professional helpers, or, helpers,
Mhm.
just if that's your natural gift set, that is something that's really key, because you can easily go into counselor mode easily,
Easily.
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 And because you're good at it, God has equipped you to
Yeah.
do it. And so it's easy. But I found myself, so I think it was, what year was that, 2020?
Mhm.
And I started seeing a therapist. And so I was telling her all these things. And I was like, yeah. And then this person called me and I got this email. And she was like, you have a problem with boundaries. And I'm like, no, I don't. She's just, oh, you do. And I was like, really? And she was the one who got me to realize, I was like, wow, like I've been providing a lot of free therapy for years for people. That's not my job, because I can do it. And, I didn't
Mhm.
think it was bothering me, but I started delegating. I was like, hey, sis, yes, I love you. You need therapy. Have you talked to a therapist? And a lot of
Mhm.
people did start seeing therapists. And so
Yeah.
when we talked, our conversations were different. It wasn't about all of the hard stuff that I was helping them walk through. And so that also freed
Mm.
me up to be able to experience a different
Yeah.
type of life for myself.
Mm.
Never would have known.
Mm. But look, and that's why y'all thank a therapist. Okay, it's just when you see a therapist, thank a therapist. Okay, because y'all, this work is not easy, and a lot of times we're in it, we're in the midst of it, and we don't see it. My therapist snatch my edges all the time. Okay, all the time, and she's so quiet and mild with it, so she'll let me come to it on my own, and then she'll just look at me and be like, like I knew you was
Mm.
gonna get there, right? But yeah, we can all use that, because and Ruby said it's hard when you're a helper. It
Mhm.
is when that is your like instinct, when that's just your nature. But if we are pouring and pouring and pouring and we are not replenishing, we just pouring from an empty cup at some point. And what good is that going to do any of us? Right? It's not going to do me any good as the person with the empty cup. And it's not going to do you any good when I have nothing left to pour. So yeah, we gotta keep some of that energy. Ram Randy said energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It's only converted from one form of energy to another. Use your energy wisely.
Amen.
Yes, come on, Rem. Yeah, yeah. And I see we got some other folks on. Hey, Renee Jones Hudson. Yeah, we got her. Hey, Danielle. Danielle said, free therapy will drain you. It will.
Yeah.
It will. And a lack of boundaries will drain you.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. A lack of boundaries will drain you. And people don't understand. Sometimes people get upset. Y'all have to let that stay right there with them too, right? If you
Hmm.
upset with me because I set a boundary that I needed from me to help me be healthy, if you upset about that, you're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah, you'll be okay.
Hmm.
And with setting boundaries, I think that is probably what I hear the most, and I experience that myself too. You feel guilty at first, because it's different. It's different because you are treating people how to treat you, and you're redetermining how you're going to show up for yourself. And so it's this different space, and you're trying. It's like this new dance, but like my husband said, the people who you love and the people who love you, they'll still be there. it's
Yeah.
just different. It's just going to be different. And, it's right. There's no relationships were lost or anything like that, but it was just different.
Yeah, it's just different. So, Doc, tell the people how they can find you, how they can follow you, so y'all can get some more about being unstuck and living the life that you were destined to live. And then, Doc, I want you to tell them for just a minute about where you do your work when you want to do it. Okay, I want them to know a little bit about the location.
Okay, I will. So I am on most of the social media. So I am on Facebook as Dr. Sherlonda Adkins, and LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube as well. I am just, I love, like I said, I love the space that I'm in. I see who God sees. And I'm loving
Yeah.
this season of being unstuck. And again, it's not just for me to live, it's for all of us to walk this journey. So I really enjoy helping people and doing coaching and accountability groups to help people get to that place of being unstuck. So my email address is drsherlondaadkins@gmail.com. So reach out to me if you want to do a compatibility chat and see if there's any way that I can help you. And as far as work and being unstuck, so I started my own telepsychiatry practice in 2020, January, right before we found out we were getting ready to go into a pandemic. So
Hmm.
people were like, oh my gosh, how did you know? It's God.
Right.
God
Look,
started setting it up in
alignment.
2019, and I started thinking, because I like to
Alignment.
travel, as Dr.
Hmm.
CC said. And so in 2019, I think I was out of the office probably a total of about 2.5, maybe 3 months. We had traveled to like 5 different countries. And so I had this idea of psychiatry is one area of medicine where we're not like auscultating or palpating. So
Hmm.
not touching patients. So could we do some kind of face-to-face, so that way when I'm out in the
Hmm.
office, my patients don't have to wait until I get back? And so that sort of got my wheels turning about starting a practice. And so 2020, I did that. So I have my practice, and then I also work as an independent contractor in a couple of other practices, one being in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and I'll be heading there in a couple of weeks to go down and see some patients. And so absolutely love the type of work that I get to do. And I work with some amazing people. My patients are awesome. I learned so much from them. They give me trip recommendations. They give me restaurant recommendations, artwork, all kind of stuff. So I absolutely love the patients that I work with. I treat patients who have depression, bipolar disorder, anxiety disorders like PTSD, generalized anxiety, OCD, ADHD, and everything in between. So that is what I get to do. And I say get to do
Yeah.
because, and I oftentimes say, never cease to be amazed. Like the life that
Mhm.
I'm living now, this is a life that I prayed for.
Mm.
This is years of prayer and hard work and God's grace and Him showing up and me being obedient to the best of my
Yeah.
ability, not being perfect, but being obedient to the best of my ability and trying to help people, and just blessed and not afraid to
Mhm.
say, I'm not bragging. It's not arrogance. It's just evidence of the blessings of God in my life and the life of my family.
Amen. Amen. And y'all, if you follow her, you will see some of these pictures from the US Virgin Islands. Just amazing, right? Amazing place to be, let alone, like you said, get to work in an amazing place like that. So, and y'all, we can have this stuff too. Now, you might not be going to the US Virgin Islands, you might not be traveling like Doc travels, but you can have the life that you're destined to have.
Mm-hmm.
You can have flexibility, you can have peace, you can have joy, you can have all of that. A lot of times it starts with mindset, it
Yes.
starts with what we believe we can do. Okay. But y'all, we can all level up, and our level up will look differently because we are different people, but we can all level up. So, y'all, let's work towards it in 2023, see what the Lord has for you, and let's go to work. All right. Yeah.
Stop. Before before we go,
Uh,
you say you had a birthday, right?
I did. I did.
Okay, so
Oh,
we got your little dance in.
right. So if y'all don't know, Doc also loves to dance and she loves music. Okay. So
I do.
I'm not even surprised. I already knew this was coming.
Did you
Mhm.
did you really?
Look, because I know you. Uh-huh. Hmm. Yes.
Okay, so we just gotta do like just a little birthday All right.
So y'all, while she get that together, Miss Ruby, thank you. I'm so happy you scrolled and caught us tonight too. Well, look, Doc gonna dance a little bit, y'all. Hey, what does the shirt say? Prayer is
It's
included. Yes, I
got
need
it.
that. Okay, I need that shirt, Doc. Yeah. All right.
I hope this a clean version.
Uh, well, look, just do a little bit of it just in case. I might have some church
Hey.
members on. So
You know,
y'all, we are
you
going
had to get just one hands up for your
right.
birthday.
Yeah, we gonna dance our way out tonight. Look, that's what you get when you got Doc in the room with you. You gonna dance your way out. So I hope all of you enjoyed tonight. Meet us back here next week. I will probably have another special guest. I will let you all know around the beginning of next week who that will be. But we will continue this level up series because, like Doc said, look, we can live an unstuck life. We can be free. We can live the life that God has purposed for us. We can be out here thriving, okay? Not just surviving, but thriving. All right. And that's the goal of this level up series is to make sure everybody figures out how they are going to thrive in 2023. All right. So with that, y'all have a good night and we will see you next week.
Bye.